You covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president.
I don't think
interested.
That's true.
Well, I mean, we'll start with the Laura Trump issue that you referred. Here it is. This happened in 2020.
Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you are
to watch somebody on stage search for
that's so
questions.
amazing.
You're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were
stuttering.
mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
And it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Laura Trump, thank you so much.
Do you want to apologize to Laura Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
And what did she say?
I mean, I don't want to disclose the contents of a private conversation, but I thought the conversation went well. And she has said this publicly, so I feel fine sharing it. She said that she would never mock anybody's stutter. But I mean, after we did the research for this book, and I realized how bad his acuity issues were, I called Laura Trump and I said, you were right.
She was totally right. That's the thing, because when I watched that clip, and I'm giving voice to what a lot of people watching the show are feeling, Jake, I feel angry because she was right. And not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position, but she was totally right. And then you lectured her on how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline, which is all she tried to do with you. But you had such a visceral reaction to her. And my feeling is that's because you didn't want to hear it.
No, if we can, I'm happy to talk about this. I didn't come here thinking that you weren't going to ask me about this.
The Ambrose Group and the Tower K Group are proud to sponsor the All-American Talk Show. Visit them on the web to learn more.
Welcome back to the All-American Talk Show. I'm Phil Bell.
And I'm Nicolee Ambrose. And folks, today is one for the history books. We have Jake Tapper eating humble pie. You will never see this happen again. And to join us in discussing this fantastic historic news story is the fantastic. We have two fantastic ladies. You might know them. I know you do. From Poppin' Politics, we have KJ and Shelly. Welcome, ladies.
All right.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
We are so excited. So we were talking about today's show yesterday.
Wait, Nicolee, before we go any further, I just want everybody out there, please like, share, and subscribe to both Poppin' Politics and the All-American Talk Show. We can't do this without great people like Shelly and KJ. We can't do it without you. So please keep us on the air. Nicolee, take it away.
All right, KJ and Shelly, tell us. We were so excited knowing that this was coming today with Jake Tapper, and then we got to see that remarkable interview. We're going to have more about it on. Give us your thoughts.
Go ahead, Shelly.
Well, let me say, I think Megyn's interview with Jake and Alex will probably sell as much as their book will. At least I hope it does, because it was worth seeing. It kind of reminded me of one of my favorite movies, The Gladiator. I've seen it every year. Or Beaches with Bette Midler. I've seen that literally every year since it's been out. I'm going to watch that interview over and over again all week. It was priceless.
I totally agree. Folks, I wanted to say hello to everyone. Thank you so much, Phil and Nicolee, for having us. I 100% agree. You know how July is generally the blockbuster time for movies. The summer movie, everyone's waiting for this was my summer movie. I thought Megyn's interview with Jake was absolutely incredible. She was in full command. She was sharp. She was direct. She asked nearly every question I was hoping to hear, and she did it with grace and grit. And I just want to say to the women, Kamala Harris, Jasmine Crockett, Sunny Hostin, Alyssa Farah, Jen Psaki, and the rest of the female flail squad, you need to take notes. This is what it looks like when a woman brings brains and backbone to the table, not just sound bites, shouting, and smug lectures. Megyn came with the facts and she was sharp.
Absolutely.
I loved it. I loved it.
Absolutely.
I agree completely with everything you just said. I have not been the biggest Megyn Kelly fan because I wasn't a big fan of how she left Fox News and kind of turned her back on the right, but I'm glad to see that she's come back. And the fact that she knows how these journalists think, she's been on the team with them in the past and knew the questions to ask. And the best one, when she said, are you going to apologize to Lara Trump? And she knows good and well that he didn't, and he won't, and he doesn't want to. But having him get there, and what I think he did, absolutely lie, really does show exactly who these journalists are and to what lengths they'll go. But I want to say one thing. I am not enthusiastic or expecting this book to sell a whole lot of copies for one reason. I think a lot of Americans understand what this really is, which is the attempt by the far left to get themselves out in front so that they don't have to pay the price for what it is that they've done. And I think there's so many alternative media outlets like this one, like Pop and Politics and otherwise, where this is going to be litigated, and of course on Megyn Kelly's show. So I'm hoping the debate happens here much more so than in Jake Tapper's book.
All right, so there are some comments that have come in that are exactly what I want to talk about. We have Kimberly saying Team Megyn, right? I mean, she is proving herself to actually be an incredibly talented journalist. Great interview. And then we had Donnie Newman say, it went well because Lara Trump has class and manners.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just disclaim, I have had the privilege of getting to hang out with Lara Trump a few times because she used to be the co-chair of the Republican National Committee and did a fantastic job. She was amazing. But can I just say, she didn't say this in private. She didn't do this hanging out with us at an RNC meeting. She said this on air just about a week ago, saying how she was owed an apology from Jake Tapper. So I don't know where he is getting that he had a conversation with her and he apologized and it's no big deal, because as of a week ago versus Jake Tapper saying he apologized months ago, sounds like this hasn't happened yet. It's time to eat some more humble pie, Jake Tapper.
Right. You know,
well, he needs to get fat eating humble pie. And all of these media types, KJ, you're absolutely right. This is a study in what real women should be elevated on: their competency, their confidence, their credentials, if you will, all those C words, not based on DEI or affirmative action or because they want to ass kiss somebody's president who has dementia and doesn't know his ass from his head. God rest his soul. I mean, he's not dead yet, but okay. Nevertheless, this is a lesson for the world. Okay, number one. Number two, these Alex Thompson and Jake Tapper and all the rest of these media types, you know what they're still doing? I think they came out with this book again, like you said, what you were alluding to, Phil. They're trying to still, in a way, they're still trying to cover themselves after that AP White House dinner where they applauded themselves like they have been doing so much journalism, real investigative grind, foot to the grind in journalism. They haven't been doing such. Now they are embarrassed. So now they're still trying to save themselves. And I believe that this Biden cancer scare or cancer medical, he may have cancer. I don't know. I haven't diagnosed him. But some part of me says that this is just all part of the scam. That again, I don't know if he has cancer or not. He may very well. But the fact that they're coming out with it now tells me, or at least says to me, that this is all a part of one of them, the media or the Democratic Party, still giving their fingers to the American public.
Well,
All
Shelley, as I was driving back from lunch today, I was really thinking about it. You know, Hollywood is where one part of the country where a lot of people go to do their acting. Washington, D.C. is another part of the country where a lot of people go to do their acting. And I look at most of the people in Washington, D.C. who are elected officials and even many who are appointees as being simply actors in a play. And the Democrats and Jake Tapper are not upset that Joe Biden has dementia and anything else. They're upset that they got caught. They love the idea of having somebody who was completely out to lunch day in and day out because they could run him and they could run anything that they wanted to do, and having only the veneer of somebody with actual authority to sign the legislation, to sign the executive orders, and so on. And what makes me the most angry isn't so much at them, though. It's actually at Joe Biden, because I believe that he's had cancer for a very long time. I believe that he's had dementia for a very long time. And he very well could have stood up and said, you know what? As much as I would like to be the president, I am not going to allow my name to be used by people who do not have the ability to do what I would want them to do. He used to take pride in saying that he was a Biden, and that meant something to him. And the result has been he has trashed that family name because of that failed presidency. And that is who we've got to point the finger at every time.
Okay, so exactly what you were just talking about, Phil and Shelley. Right. We know on Sunday that Joe Biden's personal office announced that he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9. And that's on a scale of 10, folks, with metastasis to the bone. So here is the really remarkable thing. Right now, I'd like us to look at a clip of Rahm Emanuel's brother, right? Obama's former chief of staff, his brother, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, telling us that he thinks Joe Biden has had cancer, certainly for, 4 years. Let's hear it.
Clip A.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
Again, I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
And I'm just curious again, if your doctor to a president of the United States that is a male, that is an older man, would a prostate test, and again, we're just talking about a PSA screening, a blood test that you could do along with all the other blood tests. It's not even that it would be intrusive. Would this not be one of the first tests that you would conduct as a White House doctor?
If you're a White House doctor in this situation, I think you would certainly discuss it with the president and talk about the pros and cons. I think if you then ask, well, if President Biden says, well, if I'm your father, which patients often do, what would you recommend? I think the fact is that most White House doctors would recommend getting the test. And again, the evidence is, look at President Obama, President Bush, younger than President Biden, and they both got the test.
Wow. KJ. Since 2021 at least?
Oh, yeah. And first, I want to start out, and we talked about this on Pop and Politics yesterday. Our thoughts and prayers, go out to President Biden, former President Biden. I'm no fan of his, haven't been a fan of his for forever. But, in the predicament that he's in, especially at the stage of prostate cancer, he's apparently in, it can be very painful. And, I wish him the best. However, isn't it convenient that Biden's prostate cancer revelation just happens to drop the same week Jake Tapper releases his book? That, that admits insiders knew about Biden's cognitive decline, but kept quiet to stop Trump. This is all coordinated, in my opinion. They're not coming clean. They're trying to get ahead of the scandal that they know is coming out and which actually hit today. And I wanted to say another thing. This book, I am no fan of Jake Tapper. I don't really want the book to do well, but it's already, I think, blowing out records online. And it just hit stores today. So people are buying this book. And the Biden administration was trying to get ahead of it with this announcement. Just my thought.
Exactly.
So in the United States, right, the president of the United States has the best medical care in the world, right? This is a president of the United States that at his age, with prostate cancer being a leading cause of death in men his age, would have had that blood test regularly. So it is inconceivable, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to throw up a post from a doctor, Dr. Stephen Quay. Sorry, actually, this is Dr. Howard Foreman, a physician and former professor at Yale School of Medicine. And let's look at image 4, Mr. Producer. It is inconceivable that this was not being followed before he left the presidency. Gleason grade 9 would have had an elevated PSA level for some time before this diagnosis, and he must have had a PSA test numerous times before. This is odd. Okay, odd. This had to have been hidden. I think they're announcing it because he's basically on death's doorstep, because he's probably been treated for this for years. And what else this means is they were hiding his annual physical that the president of the United States generally releases, not just to the American public, but to the world, for people in America, for the world to have faith and full confidence that the United States, as the world's leading superpower, is in good shape and is stable. And thank you once again, a lie from the Biden White House.
Well, hold on. First of all, Kung Fu CJ, thank you for your $2 super chat. But I want to point something out. Before Joe Biden ran, before he ran the second time, what did his doctor come out and say? He's got a clean bill of health. So it's not just that they were hiding the results. It's that they were lying about the results openly and knew what they were doing. That's why I've got to say again and again and again, the whole point here was to have someone they could control. That's why they liked Biden. They didn't care about anything. And what they did is they took advantage of an old man who knew his time was up and knew he was going to at least be able to call himself president, and decided to run the country themselves. That's what happened. That is a coup, and we should all be upset about it.
And can we throw up Linda Priest's comment? His wife, Dr. Jill, so complicit in this. She should be ashamed. Total elder abuse. Yes, but it was elder abuse that the Biden family even let him run to begin with, because they knew he could hardly make his way to a seat or up a staircase. But then on top of this, for him to not only be senile, but to have cancer and to hide this from the American public, and they were just so desperate for power. Yeah, just horrifying. Yeah. Shelley?
Yes. First of all, Nicolee, I want to address one of your chatters here. Let me correct myself. If I said that he didn't have cancer, I want to correct myself, because I don't want you taking the hits for me for something I said. Okay. I'm going to own what I said. If I said that was incorrect. I think he has cancer. If he does or if he doesn't, it doesn't faze me. My point that I was making when I said that was that I think this came out because of the book. That's why. So whether he has it or not, again, I wish him well, kumbaya, all that other stuff. Number one. Number two, either the doctor was lying, or maybe he wasn't, Phil. Maybe he did have a clean bill of health because he cleaned it up. He cleaned it up for the camera, right? Yes. So maybe he did have a clean bill of health. But nevertheless, either they didn't do the testing, which could be maybe malpractice, certainly negligence, whatever you want to, malfeasance, whatever you want to call it, whichever one of those categories fit. And then they may not even told him, because I believe, as I said last night, that his dementia preceded the cancer. That's what I said. So maybe they figure, oh, there's no need to tell him. He's not going to understand anyway. Nevertheless, and the third possible thing is that maybe he had Obamacare. I mean, why not?
Yes.
Maybe he had Obamacare. So now he's experiencing what millions of people have had to experience since that Obamacare bill was passed. That's just my never the humble be opinion. But what's not my opinion is that you all in that chat audience and online, you need to be subscribing, because we want to get this show to over 1,000 right now. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share the link with your enemies, just so they can talk about you, but at least they'll click on it. So do that right now. We want to get this channel up to over 1,000 subscribers. With your help, we can do it tonight.
Yes,
and thank you for that. I want to thank Kung Fu CJ. He just became a member. Kung Fu CJ, thank you so much. We are glad to have you on this team here at the All-American Talk Show. And I want to respond to a couple of those points you made. First of all, do not apologize for wondering if Joe Biden, in fact, has cancer. After all, as we've discussed, they did nothing but obfuscate what was going on for the past 4+ years, even probably into the Obama regime in terms of his health and capability. So asking if, in fact, the wool is being pulled over our eyes again is a great question. And second, you bring up a very good point. How do we know that Joe Biden himself was not being lied to? If these people are willing to take advantage of we the people, I have no doubt that they wouldn't be afraid to lie to him and say, hey, Joe, everything's okay. No problem. Just go ahead and call a lid on it. That's what they used to say around 2 p.m. You'll be okay. It's a good question if he was denied treatment that he otherwise would have had if he had been properly informed. All of these threads need to be pulled on because all of them matter to we, the American people.
KJ.
Yes, and I just wanted to say, if I could jump in there. So, folks, I see a lot of people in the chat commenting, like, what's going on with the chat? We are on 2 broadcasts tonight. We're broadcasting from Pop and Politics, and then also the All-American Talk Show. So that is why you may be on 2 different chats, and some are on some chat, some are on the other. But definitely, you guys, you got to come over to the All-American Talk Show. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. This is a new channel that we are trying to build here, our sister channel to Pop in Politics. And we are on tonight with them. It is live on both channels, but definitely you got to come on over to All American Talk. Subscribe. We want to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week if we can. So we need your help, folks. Share the All American Talk and hit that subscribe button.
And Trey's Chocolate City, thank you for subscribing. I just saw your subscription come over. You the man.
I love it. And on what we were just saying, folks, in addition to like, sharing, and subscribing, thank you so much. Let's put up LJ's chat. He said, Trump, Obama, and Bush all had PSA tests. Isn't it odd that Biden didn't? I believe he did, and they are lying. So, right, the reason I actually think he absolutely has cancer is because why would he be the only president to not get this one test? So I think that's actually kind of the proof that he probably definitely does have cancer in this case, because once again, they're leaving out the most critical piece of information, right?
Yeah.
And just to think how malicious that is, to know someone has cancer 4 years before they have to run again. And then I guess they were just like, hey, let's just slide in the most progressive, regressive, outlandishly liberal senator in the United States into the presidency to get these crazy leftist woke policies. And, you know, I bet Kamala was upset that Joe didn't pass away before 2024.
Well, yeah. I actually think that it's worse. I don't think that he was the most progressive woke leftist. I think he was the most empty vessel they could find, just like Crooked Hillary was, just like Bill Clinton was. These were people who had no desires other than to see their name in lights and be able to command things. And that was one of the ways they were able to play, I believe, on Joe Biden in order to get him in that White House. If I were in bad shape and in my elder years and I really, really wanted to be president, I would have the ability to say, look, I cannot do this, because I wouldn't want to be out there in that condition the way he was, no matter how much I think I could make a positive impact. But people like that are the most dangerous because you cannot ever stop them from accumulating power and imposing it on you.
All right, folks, we have more from this Jake Tapper interview. So let's go to clip 4 and get more reaction.
But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president.
I don't think
interested.
That's true.
Well, I mean, we'll start with the Laura Trump issue that you referred. Here it is. This happened in 2020.
Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is...
Knowing what I know now, obviously, I feel tremendous humility about my coverage, that Laura Trump interview, for example, et cetera. She saw something that I did not see at the time, 100%. And I own that. I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters
but then he wasn't.
Thought that he was not transparent at all. No.
He promised you that he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again,
at all.
including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent about his health issues.
That's true, but I did ask him about his age and the fact that the American people had concluded that even though he said whenever anybody brought up the subject of his age, watch me. And I said, yes, they're watching you and they are concerned that you were too old for this job.
But you know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say, you just forgot that Jackie Walorski was dead. You asked where she was moments after watching a videotape tribute to her. You lowered the flags at the White House after she died. This happened 13 days before you sat with him. There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it.
That's correct. I didn't. And like I said, I feel humility about my coverage.
She got him so good. She had that man looking up like a little child. You lying, they be like, God. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah. He was
all right,
Kelly. There's a way to press. Well, she was showing him this is how you do it.
Now look, okay. I, as many people might erroneously think, I do not like to beat people when they are down. So I'm going to give Jake and Alex a little bit of credit for even going on there with Megyn, and and he opened up. He said he admits his humility, whatever. But I don't care. Okay. I don't care. I'll give him that credit, but I don't care because the media have been, intertwined with the Democratic Party for so long. And now that their most prestigious, I guess, regime other than Obama, it's crumbling. And the American people can see through it. As a matter of fact, the American people have always seen through it. Okay. The media just like to suppress them when they say, no, we're seeing it. And the emperor is ass out. He does not have on clothes. Then the media will come up with all of these ways to suppress and censor and block, just like they did on during the scamdemic. The American people are not dumb. Okay. The American people can see bullshit and say that it stinks, which it does. We can call it. We call spades spades and we call bullshit bullshit. That's what the American people do. We do it very well. We do it kind of like it's a gift. It's a blessing and a curse, as Monk would say if you're a Monk fan, right? It's a blessing and a curse. And so when the media has the on their face because they have been scooping the bullshit and we're not buying it. We smell it and we tell you what it is. They don't like that. They don't like that. They're trying to find any way they can to maintain some semblance of prestige and self-importance and self-adulation. It's not working because you know what? If you're in Europe, if you're in South America, if you're in Canada, if you're out on a farm in Montana, if bullshit is bullshit, it stinks.
All right. So I just have to say, Jake Tapper only did this, only got on Megyn Kelly's podcast to sell books. That is the only reason. She would never have had him on. He would have never agreed to it. He wouldn't be pretending to eat humble pie but he wanted to sell books, period. Book sales, he wants to make money, period. And how many different phases of life can Jake Tapper go through? In every single one. He's like, pay me money to be a BS artist.
Well, you got to remember, everything else has been broken down, at least for now. If it wasn't for the fact that they lost control of everything and that we, the people, did not act like we, the lemmings, and just do what they told us to do, then he would never be on Megyn Kelly's show, and he wouldn't care about the money because he'd be getting it and all of his control from other places. But this is all he has left, and that is naked book sales. And I'll add one more thing. I was listening to Rush Limbaugh yesterday, and he was talking about Crooked Hillary's book when it came out after she lost the election in 2016. And he pointed out that they had purchased a lot of their own books to drive up sales. So don't be surprised if the playwrights aren't doing the same thing in this instance too.
All right, We've got one more clip. I know. And by the way, Pop and Politics subscribers, please click over on our sister station, the All American Talk Show. We would love for you to like, share, and subscribe. And we are so grateful that KJ and Shelly are with us tonight. It's just too much news to not cover it as a team. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. All right.
And vice versa. If you're subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to Pop and Politics too. That is a great program. It's an amazing program. They got one of those cool YouTube platinum thing, which is really neat. We can't wait to get one. So tune in there because they've got amazing programming all the time.
All right. But folks, the fun just kept going with Jake Tapper. We have clip number 5 for you.
Alex and I, after Election Day, interviewed more than 200 people, 200 mostly Democratic insiders, and almost all of these interviews were after the election. And they justified to themselves what they had done in terms of misrepresenting how the president was, not just to me and Alex and other reporters, but also just to each other and to the world and to Democrats and to the cabinet, et cetera, by saying that there was this existential threat of Donald Trump and only Joe Biden could beat Donald Trump, and that justified everything in their minds. After that existential threat was over, because the election was over and Donald Trump won, we found, Alex and myself, remarkably willing to talk to us either off the record or on background, or in some cases on the record.
Wow. You know, Jake Tapper and the mainstream media at a whole should be embarrassed. They should be ashamed of themselves because guess what? They manufactured the so-called existential threat of Donald Trump. They built that narrative based off of the hysteria and fear, not facts, that they kept pushing onto the public. Trump didn't round up journalists, cancel elections, or start wars like they warned. So now that Tapper's admitting people hid Biden's cognitive decline to stop Trump, he wants to capitalize off of this by putting out a book. When he created this monster, it's not journalism, it's a cop-out. They weren't protecting democracy, they were protecting their own lies and his own bias. I believe he didn't want Trump to win. I believe that he wanted Biden to win, and they decided to cover all of this cognitive decline up because of it. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
How funny was it to hear Jake Tapper talking about they thought Trump was an existential threat? Jake Tapper was the leader of that movement. Right. Literally the leader of that movement. You know, the ends justifies the means. We can do anything to try to take Trump out. We can lie as much as we want, misreport facts, figures, the economic information. We can torpedo every little bit of fact the media portrays to you because we dislike this man. He is an existential threat, and he led the cause. And now he's selling a book about it, trying to claim, oh, he's just an impartial journalist. Nice try.
Exactly. The media, and by and large, this, like you said, KJ, they created this myth, this orange man bad accidental threat. But guess what? This is another proof for me that I know that they are still just trying to preserve their own prestige. They still, by and large, do not want to admit that Trump was right, that the conservative, Republican, the right was right. They don't want to come out and say those words that clearly, that explicitly, because, oh my gosh, then all hell would definitely break out. Right now, they're in little fisticuffs with each other, wanting to point blame. You shouldn't talk about this, and this was not true. They want to circle the wagons and make themselves look like they were out doing their job. No, they are all running for cover right now because their man lost, number one, and he might be dying or whatever, but they lost, and they are all out with the Democratic Party. They are all over the place, all scrambling, and they don't know what the hell they're supposed to do right now. They certainly don't want to give Trump too much credit, at least not right now, because they're still trying to test these waters to see where they're going to land. Bullshit. They're going to crash land just like that damn women, those women astronauts came back down real hard in that fake spaceship.
Right. All right. So we've had some comments come in. We had Linda Priest just say they lie, steal, and cheat at all levels. So glad Doge continues to uncover all the corruption. And thank you, Linda. And then we also had some super chats come in from Kung Fu CJ. Phil, you are correct. Right.
All right.
Right.
All right.
They give away free signed copies. That's what they do to get their book sales up. And then we had Shantia say, keep up the great work. Oh, thank you. Lady Frazier. We love it. Thank you so much. And we are loving these comments coming in. KJ.
Yeah.
Shelley, we are so honored to have you on this show.
I just wanted to say before we move on, I wanted to say, we can't forget that CNN is the same channel that handed the debate questions to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. So this is the same network still pretending to be fair. And we can't let Jake Tapper off the hook. Their record shows they don't hold Democrats accountable. And listen, so we know this interview with Megyn Kelly came out today. The book comes out today. But what has happened or what has transpired since they have been reporting, since he so-called had a wake-up call that he's found humility? I haven't noticed any difference in their reporting. So they are still continuing to really ask the tough questions to Republicans, press conservatives, but they're not doing the same thing to the other side. The only one that gets that kind of treatment or that does that on CNN is a conservative, and that's what's the gentleman's name? Scott Jennings. Right. So they haven't changed. But the only thing that's changed, I personally believe, is Americans are waking up. And that's why CNN's ratings, as you said, Phil, are tanking, and alternative media like this channel and Poppin' Politics is growing.
Right. Love it.
Wow.
And then we have Kung Fu CJ with another super chat saying, Nicolee, the Democrats are divided. Yes, let's celebrate it. I'm reveling in it, quite frankly. Democrats keep being as divided as you like, at least through the midterms. And I'm happy if you're this messed up through 2028 as well. We need a lot of fiscal conservatism and smart common sense people to get this country back on track. And the Democrats screwed it up so badly under Biden and under Obama that we need a lot of time to fix it. It's a disaster. But also, the Trump administration is moving at light speed. So God bless. Have never seen any presidential administration move faster. This is amazing.
Well, I have to say goodbye to your audience. I have to go. I have another appointment to get to. Thank you all for having me. And I love your audience. I love the support that they give all of our channels on Metro Conservative Media Platform. But keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing. Phil, Nicolee, KJ, all of us, we need your support. We thank you for it. But one thing I want to say before I sign off is keep being Americans. Wear that moniker, wear that patriotism, the love of our country, because what Americans do best, we know how to sniff out the bullshit. Bye, everybody.
Before you go, Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley.
We just wanted to wish Nicolee
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday, Nicolee.
All right.
I want to wish you a beautiful birthday. Make a wish, Nicolee.
Oh, thank you, Linda, and everyone else. Thank you so much, guys.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, hoping for a great year for the All American Talk Show and Metro Conservative Media and our friends at Pop and Politics and my dear friends. Thank you, guys.
Yay!
Happy birthday. Yes,
I was wondering where Linda was. I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering, Linda's like, I want to come over for the show tonight. I was like, oh.
No, that's nice. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Blessed to have such awesome friends. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And folks, if you guys want to do a super chat for Nicolee's birthday, head on over to All American Talk. Please go over to that channel right now, All American Talk, at All American Talk, right here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, because guess what? And I encourage everyone to take a look at the full Megyn Kelly interview. I watched the full interview. One thing, the only thing I would say that I liked as to what Jake Tapper said was conservative media was right. He acknowledged, he admitted that conservative media has been right and was right to say and speak up about Biden's cognitive decline and many other things. He said that the legacy media fell short. That is true. And so this is why we need you guys. We need you guys here on YouTube to subscribe to channels like Pop and Politics, like the All American Talk Show, because we are here to search and find and bring truth no matter where it leads. You guys know sometimes on Pop and Politics, we don't all agree on as far as where the right falls, but we still bring you the facts and let you decide. And this is why we need you to go over to All American Talk right now, hit that like button and subscribe.
And KJ, thank you for that. I want to say one thing too. I've been doing a lot of reading, and it's come to my attention and belief that the internet is dead. And the internet is dead because by and large, we're not spending a lot of time adding much to it. So that's one of the reasons why I really like the ability to chat with you and exchange with you, everybody in this audience, in this way, because not only are we having conversations here on YouTube, but I want you to take this information and take it to Facebook, take the debate over there, take the debate to X, take the debate to Rumble, take the debate anywhere. And that way we will add more to the conversation about these issues that goes on in our country, because that's the way we will continue to make America strong. We won't always agree on everything because some of you like the Atlanta Braves and you're wrong. But what we can do is have these conversations and become comfortable with each other doing it. And that way we will get to the point, not where we have to stop Joe Biden's in the future, but that we will stop the conditions that led to Joe Biden. And that's what's so important.
Yes, Bill, thank you. And KJ, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've been so honored to have you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
We're so thrilled. And folks, we have some more topics for you. We're going to talk about this big, beautiful bill. We're also going to talk about that congresswoman from New Jersey who has felony assault charges pressed against her. And we've got some big international news for you too. So,
all right. I just want to say, first of all, thank you again, KJ. Since we've been on the air, we have gotten, I believe it is, over a dozen new subscribers just in the last few minutes. So I'm very happy that so many of you have decided you want to stay a part of this show after things end. So please subscribe, tell your friends, and as always, tell the haters, because we love people who agree with us, and we also love the chance to talk to people who don't, because that's what makes this fun as well. So tell the haters, bring them on too.
And folks, I love you. Thank you for these beautiful birthday messages. Adam Wood just said, happy birthday. And then before that, we had Jenna. I love this, Jenna. Happy birthday, Nicolee. And I just subscribed to your channel. Whoop. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Came over from Poppin' Politics. So
yes. And so before I leave, I want to encourage everybody who's watching on the Poppin' Politics stream to come over to All American Talk. The link should be in the chat. We are about to cut the stream on Poppin' Politics. So come on over, watch the rest of this show on All American Talk. They got a great lineup, as Nicolee just mentioned. You got to watch what's this crazy, nutty representative, LaMonica McIver or whatever. Charges have been brought up against her, as Nicolee said. And so you guys are going to bring the fire on that and more. So definitely, folks, if you're watching on Poppin' Politics, we're going to cut the stream. So come on over to All American Talk and finish watching the show. All right. Thank you all so much for having me tonight. It was a pleasure, Phil and Nicolee.
We love KJ.
We'll see you down the line, KJ.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome over to All American Talk Show. If you're joining us from Poppin' Politics, we're so grateful you're here. And folks,
by the way, Nicolee, doesn't this feel like